Hello, I'd like to welcome everybody to today's webinar on Smart Producer, introducing the first mobile web app with commercial rating. I am Jason Walker. I am managing partner of Smart Harbor. I appreciate everyone's time today, and I will stay within the time frame that we committed to when sending out the invitation. I know you're all excited to jump into the demo and learn more about some of the technologies that we're bringing to insurance agencies to make sure that within this age of an INSURTECH and innovation and digital disruption that you're at the forefront and you receive all of the great tools that help drive the best consumer experience that results in quote and bind. And so without further ado, I'll jump into the presentation, and before we talk about the demo itself and demonstrate this product, I'd like to first mention for those customers that are on the call, you know what we've been providing over the past several years now at Smart Harbor, but for those of you that might be new to our communications, just to give you a quick glimpse into our business, we empower growth and retention for insurance agencies through marketing technology and counsel. So we've been working with insurance agencies now for about 8 years, and we have a healthy customer base of 1,200 agencies across the country. And as you'll notice, we have some that are split into the independent agency channel and with some carriers, the exclusive agency channel. But even within that exclusive agency realm, the 20% of customers that we have, they're moving more and more to independence. So our focus is on you as the independent agency and delivering tools that make you a more efficient business online. We deliver over 1 million digital consumers through our digital marketing products annually, and approximately 1 out of every 4 of our organic visitors interact with our agents. And we point out that the organic is the place where we start building out good content, whether that's on websites, social media marketing, email marketing, all of the different digital tactics that help drive new prospects and even retain customers back to the assets that we've built for you online. Those are high intent engagements, and so basically looking at 25% of all of our organic visitors that we're driving to your web properties are engaging with you through some kind of form interaction or phone calls. And then when you take a look at the customers that we represent, this is a map of the United States and a bunch of dots. Those dots represent all of the insurance agencies that are our customer partners today. And so as we mentioned, there are 1,200, and of those 1,200, they have appointments with carriers. So we see over 900 total appointments with insurance carriers across the landscape of agencies that we support on our digital marketing programs and innovative technology. So there are a couple driving forces in the insurance space, the ecosystem, that are resulting in the production of written premium. And so there are 3 that we want to focus on. One are the INSURTECHs, which are receiving billions of dollars to create an efficient experience and efficiencies within sales, marketing, operations. All of those aggregate to providing a better consumer experience that helps whether it's a personal lines customer, a commercial lines customer, or even a financial services customer, move through a process and be able to submit information and on the other side get some kind of result that's ultimately integrated with carriers and third-party agency management systems and raters and all of the tools that you're probably used to and many of you are using. INSURTECHs in many cases are displacing the distribution channel of agencies across the country, and so in many carriers you'll see partnerships being developed and innovation labs popping up where INSURTECHs and carriers are combining forces to be able to look at more commoditized direct interactions with consumers when you think about more of your home, auto, monoline, personal lines opportunities. Carriers are getting into the game, and there's even some research out there that says that by this year, actually, 80% of INSURTECHs will have some kind of ownership extended to a carrier because they will be an investor, partner, or acquirer. At the center of all of this, and what we pay most attention to and what we are supporting at Smart Harbor, are the agencies themselves. So agents are at the intersection of consumers' risk and wealth management. We know this. We know that you are responsible for more than 50% of all production and retained business within the insurance ecosystem. So the carriers that are out there, as well as even INSURTECHS, understand that the driving force within the insurance space remains the agents. And so we looked at IABA's 2017 market share report, which reflects on premiums written in 2015. And from an independent agency's perspective, independent agencies wrote 35.5% of all personal lines premium and then 83% of all commercial lines premium. And so this is just to really reinforce the point that we have here, the third bullet point, which is the agents are at the intersection. You guys are the emotional intelligence that cannot be replaced fully by artificial intelligence. And, you know, we hear a lot about AI. It's something that seems to be almost overused at this point. But the point is that as consumers seek more strategic advice, they have to have that interaction, and you as agents are there to be able to support that. When we think about these INSURTECHS, it's important to point out how many are in the space, and they're categorized. You have those that are playing in automotive, employee benefits, enterprise, commercial, health, travel. You can see the list. There are over 1,000 companies and counting that are getting into the insurance space to really look at a potential product line, a potential state that could use some kind of efficient process instituted that may at some point displace some manual labor or even people. And so these companies are all trying to take advantage of the billions that are pouring into the INSURTECH space to be able to come out on the other side and either become the next evolution of an insurance carrier to help and assist insurance agencies, or in some cases to displace certain distribution channels and be kind of the one-size-fits-all to a specific product line. So I thought it'd be interesting and important to point out, especially as we talk about what Smart Harbor is doing in the evolution of Smart Harbor and products that we're providing to agents, is to look at technologies like Lemonade, for instance, which is an INSURTECH, received over $100 million in investment so far. They've created an application that when you come in, you're greeted by a bot named Maya, never changes. It's just a bot. It's not a physical human being. And she has a conversation with you, ultimately trying to drive you to renter's insurance policies. And the way that Lemonade has structured this is they started in New York City. They were assessing risk within a large apartment complex in downtown Manhattan, and they would be able to have some prediction based on number of tenants and claims filed, what the average premium would be based on some information that you provide as a consumer. And they hold to the mantra that we will provide a rate within 90 seconds that you can bind, and that is true. And so what we're showing here is just a screen capture of me going through the process to fill out information as a consumer, basically responding as we see Maya continues to have some kitschy language that's saying, in a minute, we will have a rate for you that you can move forward on. And then from that, you can add or append other things that you might want to cover within that apartment, but you can see that it returns a rate pretty quickly. And so this is something that has been relegated initially to New York. It's now moving into a couple other states with large metropolitan areas. It makes a lot of sense from a commoditized perspective, but notice that this is not the type of business that drives you as agents. It might help keep the lights on. And so INSURTECHS have started up really in the commoditized transactional side of the ecosystem, not really solving for more of the complex discussions that are requiring that human interaction between the agent and the consumer. So that's an example of peer-to-peer insurance technology within the INSURTECH space. If we move to the next example, we've pulled here CoverHound, which is a comparison marketplace. And what you're able to do based on this technology or application that's web-based, you can go in and put in your zip code and enter in the type of insurance that you're interested in as a consumer. And because CoverHound has integrations with the specific carriers that we saw either at the bottom of the screen when we started this demo, or even on the right-hand side. It's demonstrating who the top carriers are, and then it pulls in information from me and third parties in order to be able to return specific rates so that I can compare between a couple of the carriers that you can see in the right-hand rail, State Auto, Progressive, et cetera. And so this is, again, an example of a way to create a better customer experience based on an established process. Unlike Lemonade, it's not using kind of that warmer feeling of a human or personalized interaction, but it is another way to quickly gather information and then leverage integrations on the back end in order to provide what the consumer is seeking. And then the last example of an INSURTECH before we really start to move into our demonstration is Insurion. And so Insurion is a large commercial producer, and they have a website that we're scrolling through now that helps to run consumers through a similar type of process that you just saw from the other INSURTECHs, but it's specific to commercial. And unlike your personal line side, commercial is still nascent. There aren't a ton of players in the space, so the expectations and standards in this space are still a little bit lower. And so what we can do is we can glean from this experience and say what's already being done, and then look at the personal line side when we think about the Lemonades of the world and say what can be accomplished, and then use our understanding of these INSURTECHs, both in personal lines and commercial lines, to draw out a better research and development for insurance agents. And so what is the takeaway for an insurance agent? Pay attention to these INSURTECHs, see what they're doing, test them like I'm doing on the screen for you now, to show you how you can walk through a guided consumer experience, and some of them are a little bit more humanized, others are not, and see where there are opportunities to leverage your websites in order to be able to create an experience that doesn't require a human being until a certain point. And so wanted to give this to you as kind of what is the standard within the INSURTECH space, give you an understanding of what these technology companies are doing. Now, we know that consumers want some human interaction when dealing with complex financial needs and complaints, and this was taken from Insurance Journal, where 66% of consumers have this need to still interact with someone to gain emotional intelligence and be able to solve needs beyond what we just watched, which is more of a commoditized transaction. And that's good news and continues to be favorable for insurance agents. And so we say to ourselves, well, with humans wanting to interact with humans, but being open and accepting of technology that helps provide a guided experience, how can we leverage that here at Smart Harbor in order to provide good tools for insurance agencies? And so if you're familiar with Smart Harbor and you're a customer that's on the line today, or maybe a prospect and we've had discussions with you, first and foremost, we built our business around the foundations of search strategy, including websites and some of your ancillary social media profiles, email marketing, et cetera, all of the core foundations that help build visibility within search engines and then drive a guided experience through insurance industry compliant content and making sure that we're able to connect consumers that have a need to your business. And so I was demonstrating just a second ago kind of the search engine, just search phrases people put in and the expectation that you'll get returned results. So when we look at returned results and we think about search engine optimization, that's just building out good content, making sure that you have reputable links coming back into your website that revolve around the products and services and industry that you're in, and in this case would be insurance. Then you want to make sure that you start to steal the real estate within the search engine. So this is an example of Google local search being performed, which you just saw prior, and then the listings that result. And so search engine optimization drives what you see in the purple: Brilliant Insurance, Home Auto, Business Insurance, et cetera, and then all of the interior pages that you can link to. And then on the right-hand side, a lot of you are familiar with directory management, listings management, Google My Business, and so being able to take up the real estate on a search results page like we're doing on behalf of our customers, and you see here, so that we can also leverage places to put images, make sure that we're getting reviews represented to show that you're a reputable business. This all adds to your search visibility strategy and ultimately brings people into a catered interactive experience. And so once you're brought into our website, you then have the ability to converse with your agents through chat integration, which we're demonstrating here on the right-hand side of the page. But the goal is to make sure that we're providing the best foundation for you as insurance agents. But through this work that we've done and all of the technology that we've provided in the 8 years of being immersed in insurance only, we started to create a really good feedback loop from our 1,200 agencies on expectations, needs for the future, and what takes a website and flips it upside down, turns it on its head, and really creates something that's even more interactive that gets to the point where we have consumers that have come in almost passively to some degree, because usually they may submit a form or just read your content, but we know that it usually is when someone has an immediate need on, they'll jump to digital, whether that's filing a claim or they are doing some price shopping or they're up for renewal or they have started maybe a business that has both a mix of personal lines and commercial lines needs. Those are the times where you have consumers that will start to actively engage. And so agents continue to tell us we would like to have a semblance of what we might see in the space that's evolving with INSURTECHS and have that still humanized, customized, personalized experience for consumers that come into our website so we can trap them there instead of these consumers jumping out and going to any one of these third parties. And that's what's led us to Smart Producer. And so we know that through the data that we collect from a website performance perspective, that over 50% now of visitors coming to our agencies, they are coming through a mobile device. And mobile devices can be overwhelmingly, they're usually smartphones, but then you even have tablets that are serving a small portion of that traffic as well. And so we know that that's the demand, that individuals are leveraging those smart devices because they might be somewhere where it's quick and they're not in front of a desktop. So that was one learning experience over time that we knew. And so we make sure all of our websites are mobile responsive now. But the other piece is when we're looking at these INSURTECHS that I just demonstrated and start to ground ourselves in, wait a minute, insurance agencies have more leverage, more credibility than any one of these INSURTECHS that are popping up that have not been servicing this space as long as you guys have been servicing this space in your local communities. So what if we started to take from INSURTECH development and look at it as a research and development opportunity ourselves, but you don't have to pay for it, and then we start to create similar experiences, but really brand it and build it for the insurance agents and agencies. And that's what we've done with Smart Producer, and that's why we're really excited to share that, and I'm going to do it in a live environment today so that you can see me walk through a catered experience as a small business owner, and I have a specific need, and I'm going to fill out the application, which will return a rate. And so we'll talk about the rating integration at the end of this. We'll talk about what it is we're trying to achieve with existing customers or new prospects as far as the beta opportunity is concerned. But let me dig into this presentation, this demonstration. I'm going to pull my screen over and get us started. So this is the desktop version. Let me kind of shrink it for you. So it's now in more of the mobile version. So let's talk about what we notice. Very quickly, this is mobile responsive in nature, but to the consumer who's on a phone, they definitely feel like this is a mobile application. The good news is there's no downloading involved from a store. There's no paying to have access to it. It's just calling this web URL and bringing you quickly to the point of let's have an interaction, let's have a dialogue. So something that is similar to what you saw in the demonstration of the INSURTECH, and think about Maya with Lemonade, is that we're introducing one of the many agents that you have given us, because when we build your website for you, you give us images of your agents, you give us bios of those agents. Let's start cycling through those images and present those agents and bring them to the forefront once that consumer is introduced to your experience, and in this case, the mobile experience. So as I come into Brilliant Insurance as the consumer, I'm being introduced to a real live agent. Whether or not Gina is actually behind the computer right now, that doesn't matter, but what we're doing is bringing that personalization at the beginning of this and making sure that it's communicating with that consumer. So here's Gina, and she's talking to me. My name is Gina, and I'm excited to assist you. May I please have your name to get started? So I'm going to start filling in some of my information here and make sure that I get it all in here correctly so I can show you how we are delivering rates. So I am Jason. I am in Columbus, Ohio at 43215. Let's continue. All right, so the application is thinking. And then we get into, thanks, Jason. I'm looking forward to helping you today. What type of insurance are you shopping for? So I happen to be a business owner here at Smart Harbor, and so I'm going to click on business insurance. And so one of our specialties is commercial insurance. So notice Gina is continuing to talk and ask, what type of business do you have? And so I am going to drop down my menu, and these are all different types of businesses. We have all of them listed. It's a long catalog, and depending on the state, you will have specific coverages for these types of businesses, or use service and support. And I do accept the terms and conditions. Now, thinking, great, we work with a lot of businesses in your industry. Could you please tell me a little more about your business? So what is my legal structure? For purposes of this, I'll put in partnership. My business name is Smart Harbor. What year did you start your business? This is a slider, so thinking about a mobile experience, you can just use your finger. I'm currently in my desktop experience, but I'll say 2004 just to move this along. Website address or URL, www.smartharbor.com. Does your business have a DBA? No. And then it's asking me for my street address, 580 North 4th Street, and it already knows I'm in Columbus, Ohio because I filled in my information on my zip code. So we're proud to work with a lot of established businesses just like you. What is the best way to contact you? So now I'll put in first name, last name, your contact phone number, and my email address. And I continue. And so what's happening now is the rater on the back end is pulling a lot of this information in that I've submitted based on my location, based on my email, my phone number, et cetera, and it's processing. So we're almost there, Jason. Now I just need a bit of general information. And so what you probably noticed is that she's helping guide me through. She's being conversational, and she's making sure that I'm staying engaged instead of falling out. If, for any reason, I will just make this quick caveat, because you are an agency that can accept calls later, you can accept emails, if at any point I, as Jason Walker, get annoyed or bored or have to move on, I can click call me or email me in order to just get a hold of Gina. If I fall out of this process altogether, all the information that was captured to start is stored in a database through the content management system that drives all of our websites and web app experiences, so it's all collecting in the back end, so you at least have partial information if you wanted to market to it later. So, continuing on with this process, do you have any claims? Sorry, so any claims? No. Are you currently insured? Yes. Annual revenue, I'll just put in 1 million. And then scroll down here. Number of full-time employees, I'll put 2. Number of part-time employees, 0. And then the payroll, I'll just make it $500,000. And then we will continue. And so to find the right policy, I'll need to learn more about the location of your business. Can you please share a few more details about your property? What's nice is because we're leveraging Google Maps on the back end, it's pulling the image. This is where Smart Harbor is located on the 5th floor of the Smith Brothers building, but that's our location based on the information. Do you or your business own the building? We do not. What year was it built? I'll just keep it at 1934, but again, it's a slider, so it can go back and forth. The construction type, joisted masonry. We have 6 stories here, and I'll just put in square feet, 50,000. The roof type is other. Is there a burglar alarm? I'm just going to say none for any of these. I know that some of this would not get us complete quotes. Is there a sprinkler system in the building? Yes. 80% coverage. And then continue. So liability coverage, I'm going to put in 1 million. Personal property amount, 10,000, and then property deductible is 2,500. All right, so now we are retrieving the real-time rate, which can take up to 60 seconds. Gene is still communicating this to us, and what it's doing on the back end is through our API integration, it will pull a real-time rate. And once we get that pulled up here, I'll discuss the rating integration that we have now versus what we're working towards in the future. And that leads us into the beta discussion that I want to have with all of you. So we see that Gina has provided a rate. Thank you for using our online rating service. One of our agents will contact you within 2 working days. We can set that expectation. And what we see on the screen is a rate for Liberty Mutual at $550. And this is important to know because we are currently integrated with Liberty Mutual's BOP rating system. And so that is the rate that will come back today. We are working with not only other carriers, but third-party rating systems. If you think about Vertafore, PL Rater, for instance, we're looking at ways to pull in additional parties. We're also looking to our agency base to help with any of those discussions if there are other raters that they want to pull into this application. So today we have Liberty Mutual BOP, and tomorrow we're working on both additional BOP raters and then the personal lines, which runs the gamut, and most of you are probably used to. So what are we looking for at Smart Harbor as you've seen this process? You've seen an INSURTECH app that's finally available to you as agents, which is well-deserved because you are the ones that are working with the majority of customers, both from prospecting and retention. And so we are looking for beta partners. We have about 13 openings left, 13 positions, where we're looking for volunteers. Now, if you're a current customer, you would be able to switch to this application on your website. Literally, it just ports the content over. You would get this particular experience. If you are a prospect, you would sign up to get this web experience, and then what we need from you is confirmation that you can today write BOP through Liberty Mutual Safeco, and then we would go through the proper process of understanding what products you are interested in or write, because the more the better, because it will demonstrate this working, and then you will likely work with your regional team at Safeco to run any kind of paid media, referral marketing, et cetera, through this funnel in order to demonstrate how it works and how it can start to create efficiencies within your operation. And so this is a call to action, basically. We have partners now that are agency partners that are on this application, and we're looking for additional partners. We have about 13 seats available in order to be able to work with you. So we have gone through the demonstration, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to also get a bit more grounded in the ecosystem and some of the influencers that are out there, from carriers to INSURTECHS to agents. And I have noticed that as I've been giving this presentation, there are a lot of questions that are coming through, so I want to be able to answer those in our chat forum. So I'm just going to jump right into that and make sure I can answer as many as possible. And then if you don't submit something through chat, please know that you can always give us a phone call or visit our website, smartharbor.com, and be able to submit a form or make a phone call there. All right, so I'm going to jump to the final screen in our presentation so we can leave our contact information up. Here are the questions that are coming through. One, so this is a mobile responsive web form for commercial for each sub-producer within an agency, correct? Do the forms bridge their data into the agency CMS? So this right now is built so that we can cycle through your producers. We are looking at opportunities to be able to sell this as producer by producer, but today it is all-encompassing of your agency, and then we can move through the images of the agents that you've submitted to us that we've created bios for in their traditional website setting. And then do the forms bridge their data into the agency CMS or CRM or AMS? The answer is, with your help, it can. It's really just an API call or feed that's been developed between us, and in this case, right now, we have an API that's integrated with Liberty Mutual's BOP Rater. So if you have specific partners that you want to make recommendations for or that we might already be exploring, let's have those conversations as we determine if we're the best fit for you in this beta process. Next question. Also, most of the personal lines multi-raters already provide mobile responsive web forms, just not down to the individual producer level. That's absolutely correct. That's why we see the opportunity to continue to elevate the individual producers, because we know as agencies that there are some that are specific to personal lines, some that are specific to commercial lines. So we want to continue to build out this program and this product so that it suits the individual needs. But again, we started out at the agency level, and we're literally pivoting from the sites that we've built in order to provide a better mobile-friendly experience. It's guided, it's conversational, it humanizes your agents, and it cycles through their photos. And if anybody wants to drill down, they can see that those people truly work there, unlike on the InsurTech apps where it might be using a bot named Maya that's not an actual person that's providing that service. Let's say Gina is exclusively commercial. Can her form be customized to only offer commercial quotes? So for now, as we've launched this and it's in beta, this is pretty much all-encompassing. It's not specific to a producer, but we are looking at opportunities to be able to say, if you want to start to customize in the future, we need to take that feedback, which is why, and this is a great forum to do it, I appreciate these questions, why we want to make sure that we're accommodating through the beta to also iterate on the product to make it the best product for you, because I'm sure some of you already see places that if we did 1 to 2 things better, that it would be even more ideal, and that's the type of feedback that we want. Since on a good day, agents have 20% closing ratio, that's why we want to be able to bridge the data into a third party like a CRM, AMS, CMS. Planning on doing that too? Absolutely, answers yes. We want to bridge. We are trying to remain agnostic. We know that it's difficult to have to work with 20 different partners in order to get something done within your operation. That's the wrong approach. So for us, we're very agnostic. If we're providing the web experience, if we're providing that funnel that brings prospects and customers into the experience, we need to conversationally move them through the funnel and then deliver them to you so that you're able to then hand them off to potentially those back-end office opportunities that you have, technologies and partners that you're working with. So great questions. Again, I appreciate all of these. We have a ton that are pouring in. Another one, we have Safeco Home Auto and Liberty BOP in New York. And so can we be part of that beta? The answer is, let's have a conversation offline, and I'll make sure, one, because we're recording this, that this is available to all of you, so that if you have other agents or principals that you want to introduce this concept to, you feel free to do that. 2, if you have an interest and you're basically calling yourselves out, I just won't reveal who some of those are that are coming through. if you're calling yourself out, we will be following up with you on this opportunity to make sure that our beta is the right fit for you as well, because we want to be respectful of your time, because even if it's not today, because we're getting more integrations and personal lines will be pulled into this, it might be ideal tomorrow for some of you. So is it only Safeco now? Who else is there? It is only the Liberty Mutual BOP Rater right now, and we wanted to launch with that because we know that in our customer base of 1,200 agencies, the average agency has 19 carrier appointments, and many of them are Safeco appointed agencies, and so we knew that this provided value today. We know that it's the first step in many steps, and so yes, today it is having an appointment with Safeco and being able to and having the appetite for commercial product where we can rate it through the Liberty Mutual quoting engine. How many partners do you have already secured, or is it just Liberty Mutual? So just to reiterate, yes, we are currently working through the Liberty Rater, and we are already talking to other carriers, and we are talking to third parties. I had mentioned Vertifor. I went to NetView, met a lot of carriers. I know that Hartford, for instance, has their own rate quote bind system. So I personally, our company personally has an interest in how do we effectively get our experience to push prospects into that funnel, since it takes you to the bind. So anybody that has those technologies, maybe you're thinking of a super regional that you'd like to be able to do this with, it literally is a simple API call. It's like a handshake in a conversation to be able to pass information from one to the other. Do you plan on adding any additional carriers in the near future? We absolutely do. And so we want to make sure that we are, like I said, talking to and having conversations with all of them. Let's see. So we would be able to use this just to gather quote information without having to go through the rating process. We find asking quote information to be one of the toughest parts of getting a quote. We were thinking this might make it easier. Love that question, and the answer is yes. There are some of you that are looking at this and saying, I like it, and I really don't need the rater. You can use it without a rater. We're not requiring it. What we just know is that it's taking it steps beyond to be able to complete a seamless transaction between you and your customer. So we know that it's a value add, but we also have research and data that shows that people will drop out at specific points when they have to go through a laborious process, which is also a reason why we wanted to start with commercial, because it is a bit laborious on the information that needs to be collected. So we wanted to demonstrate that there is a way to make it more humanized and personalized, which does not require a rater. If you want to get them into a phone call with you or an email or something, you can absolutely do that, and we just would not sync it up to a rater. So a link could reside on my website to lead to this web form. That is a great question. The answer is yes. Right now, this is a website version that we have. We have many different versions of websites, and this one went heavy mobile, so we continue to drill in and created this mobile web app experience out of it. But if you're looking at driving referral leads, if you're looking at driving paid leads through media or acquired leads that you have, you can absolutely have this sitting on the side, because you would not be optimizing it in that case because you would already have a website. But if you wanted to use this as kind of the mousetrap or the funnel, and then every button on your existing website linked out to it, that's definitely an interesting conversation and something that can be achieved, and love to have a deeper conversation around that. Let's see. People asking about easy links, HawkSoft. If you are working with partners that we are not currently integrated with but are interested in integrating with, and again, it's a pretty simple process on our side and should not cost you anything. People that try to monetize that API connection, it's just, you know, that's confrontational for you. It's a conflict, and it doesn't always lend itself to being agnostic and helping the independent agency that has choice and has, you know, in our ecosystem about 19 different appointments per agency. So yes, totally interested, and if there are places that you want to go with this and you think, you know, because you're a power user of one of these CMSs, CRMs, AMSs, we have those relationships even if they're not around this particular technology we just launched. They're easy discussions to have, and with your voice as the agent, it usually helps prompt it because you are the power user to these products. We have the website from you guys. Does this replace the quote link on the site? If you went to this template, the answer is yes. It would take you to this experience. We have many different website offerings, templates, designs that we've built, and we are providing that to many of our customers today. Our goal is to make sure that we take this particular version and we start to take all of our forms and all of our legacy versions and website designs and create that experience. That's on a to-do list for our future rollouts. So today you would move to this experience. All your content's transferable. If you didn't like it, you can move back to the old design, but that's the reality of it today. Can you connect with Liberty, BOP, and Virginia? So this integration connects with all 50 states. Obviously, there are nuances to every state on thresholds, on appetites, on products that are being delivered or written in a particular state. But the answer is, at the top level, yes, it has integration with all 50 states. Can I bind on Smart Harbor? There isn't bind unless you have a third-party partner that has a bind component. And so when I was mentioning, my interest in going to NetView and seeing the really cool innovation at Hartford, there are opportunities with carrier partners plus our funnel to be able to get to that point of bind, or even some of these third-party tech apps that are out there that provide the ability to bind. Ours is just right now going to the rate. We want to take one thing at a time, and then we're looking at integrations instead of trying to recreate the wheel. I'm a nationwide agent. I am appointed with Liberty. Will this be separate from my webpage, which Nationwide has control over? If you're a nationwide agent that's on our program, the Smart Harbor program, because it was opened up to you when you signed the commercial agreement to become independent, then we can use this today. So if you're a nationwide exclusive agent that's going independent and you have the Smart Harbor product, it was always built for independence on the commercial side. So absolutely, we can work with you. You mentioned Applied. Our CMS is with HawkSoft. Does that have any integration? So Applied, HawkSoft, those are all potential partners for us. EasyLinks, that's another question, all potential partners for us, and we want to look into those opportunities together. So love this feedback because it helps us. And then finally, we have an interest in the beta as well, and even our website services. So if you guys have interest in what we do, we would definitely love to provide that on your behalf, and we can go into more detailed discussions. I've left up purposely our 800 number as well as our website where you can get into contact with us. With that, I would like to say thank you. I appreciate everyone's time today. I appreciate everything that you've done as the current customers, as prospects to ours. Having an interest in this new web app that we've created with commercial integration, it is just the tip of the iceberg as far as what we are doing here at Smart Harbor from an innovative INSURTECH perspective, and we love the fact that we've had such a turnout. We have over 100 people attending today, and we're going to run a couple more of these, but we did record it, so it will be available soon for you to download, and we'll make sure that we reach out to you when it is available for download. With that,